Okay, good morning. Happy Friday. Thank Buddha it's Friday. I just made it in time here. Was running a little behind, but ready to go today. We're just going to talk about, we already talked about the past 30 years that I've been living here, and now we're going to talk about the future 30 years. Hello everybody, what's happening? How y'all doing? Sawadee, Ton Chow, Sawadee Cup, Sabadi My Cup, Tam Yang Ai. How are you all doing? I am doing just fine, although really busy. And that's the thing. I'm older and I'm actually busier than when I used to like wake up and just go, okay, so what am I going to do today? Oh, well, maybe in about an hour or two I'll go have breakfast. And then I'll go hang out at this bar with my friends. And then I'll maybe go have dinner. Then maybe I'll go out again. It's a lot different now. That was a long time ago. But let me just get to this right now, because the dollar is 33.68 against the baht, which is pretty good. Can't complain about that. Hopefully it just keeps going up. The air quality is 153, which is horrible. It's unhealthy. Yeah, it's not good. I can't see it. I can't really feel it yet because I just jumped on a motorbike, came right over here. But 153 in Bangkapi, in here, and that's not good. And, I don't like that. I don't like the traffic. I don't like any of this stuff. That's why most of the time I just come from my house to the mall. I take a taxi or a motorbike rather to across the street, and I walk across the street, or if I'm lazy, I take a motorbike and it takes me all the way over here. It's 35 baht, which is about $1, a little more than $1. It's 20 baht to go across the street, which, you save a little money, but sometimes if you're lazy, you just don't want to do it. That's me. Sometimes I'm lazy. I just want to get dropped off right in front, and I walk through the door. It's about 50 feet in. Boom, I'm here. I'm the first customer. Almost always when I come in and stream, I'm the first customer here. So anyway, the air quality is garbage. Temperature is 81 degrees, high of 92, low of 77, and the feel like temperature is 85, and the humidity is 83%. So that tells you what it's like. And I suspect, even though today is just predicted to be cloudy, it's not supposed to be heavy rain or any of that stuff, I still think it's going to rain. It rained yesterday, pretty solid for a couple of hours, and I think it's going to rain today. So, I don't worry about the weather. I just try to keep up on it. I don't worry about the weather. I don't think, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't think I can't go here, I can't go there. You just work around it. Just like anywhere else. You work around it and you do what you have to do, and what else can I say? That's about the size of it. So anyway, today we're going to talk about, I've lived here for going on 30 years. We're going to talk about the next 30 years, if I do have 30 years left, and what's going to happen, because, I've been here, I have a couple of kids, one of them is 23, the other one turns 22 in about 3 weeks. That's Nicholas. And I got a family here. I got everything that most people have back home. Only thing is I don't have a car, and we haven't got a car because we really don't need one, and we don't want an extra expense. We've been looking for a house, as I've been saying, and we, good morning, good morning. My wife looks around for these houses. She finds these houses and she goes, oh, what do you think? I'm like, yeah, well, I like this one. And, oh, I like that one better. I like this one the best. Out of all the 5 we looked at, out of all the 50 we looked at, I like these 2 the best. Wow, okay, yeah. And then I don't hear anything for a week. And she just doesn't do anything. I don't know if she's a little nervous about pulling the trigger and she doesn't want us to get the house. I mean, I know she wants us to. The other day we went and looked at a place, me and Nicholas and Alex, we went and looked at a place, and it was a townhouse. We look at this townhouse and it's big enough, it's nice enough. The only thing, it was 3 stories, and I don't want to have to climb up to the 3rd floor to go to my bedroom. But, you know, we liked it. It's a good area, not far from where we are now, and I was like, all right, we can do this. Or you can, you know, if we just want to get a blue book, you can just get a little condo, cheap condo, and we'll just keep living where we are, and we'll get a house, you know, a year or 2 down the road. So now I don't know what's happening. The wife didn't pull the trigger on this townhouse, so here I am again. We're looking around, and that's part of, I mean, it's taken us a long time simply because she's been working on her career and you know, moving up in the ranks, and you know, we've had kids and we've had to pay for their schooling, we've had to pay for, you know, we've had to pay for their education, we've had to pay for, you know, doctors and everything that goes along with having kids. Should just rename this channel Best Dad in Asia. Damn right. Well, thank you, Sammy. Thank you very much. Smash the like button. Yes, most definitely. So I don't know what's going on with that. And, you know, frankly, whatever happens, happens. That's my way of thinking. Her way of thinking is, oh, we have to get it. We have to get it. And then I go, well, this is okay. I don't know. Maybe we should look around a little more. So that in itself stresses me out, because it's like you see a place and you go, hey, this place is pretty good. Maybe we should get this. How about we think about that? How about we do it after a day or 2? Should we get this? Yes. Okay, then let's get it. Not let's wait and go look around and go look around. And, you know, I understand the apprehension about it, but one way or the other, we have to do something. And hopefully in the next 6 months to a year, we'll end up moving into a place and we'll be settled, and yeah, that'll be done. What else is going on? Well, we just got back from Vietnam, and I don't know where we're planning on going next, but what the hell was going on? I was thinking about, oh, Nicholas starts school next month, and what else? I don't know. I got all kinds of stuff going on. But in regards to life after 60 and, you know, the next 30 years, or, you know, maybe it's only the next 15 or 20 years, I don't know. It depends on how long I live. But there are quite a few things that we have to think about as aging expats. If you're an older expat, you have to think about some things for sure. You don't have the time or the luxury to sit around and twiddle your thumbs as if you were coming over here when you were like 25 years old. You might have some time to be able to, you know, time to be able to try to figure out what you're going to do. We're getting older. I especially am getting older, and you know, I don't have much time. I mean, that's how I look at it. If I live to be 85, I got another 25 years. So that's a good chunk that I can live 25, 30 years, right? Hopefully. That's a good chunk of my time that, you know, I can live with whatever we decide to do. I asked my wife which provinces she would prefer to live in, and she had chosen all the provinces where land is expensive. At the same time, she hasn't been visited. Well, that's kind of, you know, I hate to say it, but that's kind of Thai people. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Thai logic is a bit different than Western logic. Just stay alive long enough until we can cyberpunk tech and put your brain into a robot. I don't know if you want to put my brain into a robot. But my thing is I have to live a bit longer. I have to live at least 15 or 20 years more. That's the way I look at it. And I don't really have any... I expect to live that long. I tell myself I'm too stubborn to live less than that. You know, I have to live until I'm 75 or 80 at least. I mean, 80 years old. If I live to be 80, I'll be happy. If I live to be 85 or 90, I'll be like, wow, okay, well, I surpassed my expectations. Let me see something here. I gotta read something here. As long as you keep being physically healthy and constantly keep learning, you'll be fine. Yeah, well, that's what I think. But, you never really know what's going to happen because anything can happen. And, anything can happen at any time. It could be something acute. It could be something chronic that I don't know about. It could be something I don't even expect, which is what I kind of think. I want to give a thanks to the members of my channel and all the people that support me. Robert, Pierpoint, MGTOW, Gillis, Doucette, David Alexander, Narve Omre, Andy Travels, Charles Akana, Dale Opolskis, Dowlo, Carnivore Chronicles, Botman, Chris Mott, Tom O'Connell, Vixter, Beeson, Mr. Mitch. How you doing, Mr. Mitch? Oh, Mr. Tokyo Sam, how you doing? Carlos Colucci, Stephen K, John From, Sue Wone, Mr. Allen, Tim Mays, Mindy Corcoran, Lee, Tony, Henry McIver, Longhorns, and Jim Urardi, who I have not seen in quite some time now. Seen or heard from him in a while. I don't know if he just listens or what's going on with him. And also Mr. Daniel, Mr. Dimitri, and let me see here. I think there's some other people. I don't want to leave them out. I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Billy, who I met with yesterday. Thank you for all the support and your kind words. And also to Mr. Carnivore Chronicles, thank you. I love the poster. It's really cool, which is great. And let me see here. Who else we have? There's a couple other people. Mr. Dimitri. We have... What do we have? Who do we have? Let me see here. Oh, well, it doesn't tell me there. Where do I look at this? Audience, yes. Relationship manager. Okay. No, these are all free. No free members. Paid members. Yeah, these are all active. Yes. Okay. Mr. Elaine, what happened here? It's not loading. Well, Mr. Elaine, thank you very much, and Mr. Dimitri also. Appreciate it. Let me see if there's anybody else here. I thought there was a... Oh, okay. All right, and then everybody else who, pitches in and supports the channel, I appreciate it. I have to say that every once in a while, and sometimes I forget, and I'd like to put up the list of people who help support the channel. I'd like to do that. I just got to think, where am I going to put it? In the description, in the video? What am I going to do? So anyway, thank you once again, and I appreciate it. Have you ever thought of creating custom emojis? Yes, I have. Michael Lee, how you doing? I have. I don't really know how to do it, and I don't know how beneficial it would be, to be completely honest. It's not like I make a bundle of money I mean, I get super chats every once in a while, and it's nice and it helps, and I'm very grateful for that. I don't know, maybe the emojis would help. I don't know. I'd have to look into it and do a little research, because I'm not sure how to. I know it's not that difficult to do, but if I wanted to do something that had to do with an American in Bangkok or Thailand or whatever, I got to put some thought into it. So I have to look into it a little bit. Anyway, so one of the things that everybody has to think about, I mean, whether you're young or old, and you should have some insurance, is healthcare. Especially if you're aging, especially if you have some acute condition, you have something that you've got to take care of all the time. Maybe it's diabetes, maybe it's it could be something else. You got to have health care. And health care is so important. And while it is cheaper here than in the United States, and it's a fair bit cheaper most of the time. However, I can tell you that when I came here, thank you, Michael, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, you can't give them a thumbs up, but let me see. Is there anything else I can do? No. You can't give that. That's a super thanks, I think. But thank you very much there, Michael. The thing is that if you are, you want to be covered here, most people want to go to private health care. They don't want to go to the public health care system. They don't want to go in the Thai public health care. And it's cheaper here, and much cheaper for public health care than it is for private. But I can tell you that the prices are rising drastically. Because it used to be that I would go to a clinic and I would get, like a little, maybe I'd have a cold or something like that, and it would be like 300 baht. Now it's like you go into a place, unless you go into like a clinic for the impoverished, you're going to probably pay 1,000 baht, 1,500 baht. If you go into a private healthcare, almost every time I go in that I've been in, and I haven't been in a while, almost every time you go in, it's a couple thousand baht. It's 2,000-3,000 baht. Well, that's almost $100. Now that doesn't sound like much, but if you don't have insurance, that can add up quickly. If you go in and you got $100 payment, and then a couple weeks later you're like, oh, I still haven't got rid of it, and you got to go in again, and then they go, oh, we found something wrong with you. Okay, well now it's maybe 10,000 baht, and then they're like, you come back and you go, it's still bad, and I don't know what to do, and they go, oh, you know what, we're going to need to keep you for observation. They keep you in for 3 days. It might be 50,000 baht for 3 or 4 days. And I can tell you, because I've had some experience with hospitals, you definitely want to have insurance. I don't personally like to pay when it comes to health care, because I always feel like, I hate to say this, when you need care, you want the care, and you're like, I'll do anything. I want to get well. But then you look at everything and you go, oh, they're charging me, $2 per aspirin. Even here. When you can just go down the street, and for 50 cents or $1, you can get, 6 aspirin or 8 aspirin, whatever, 10 aspirin. So I always think of that. The other thing is that when you get older, you have to think about what happens when I get to the point where I am no longer able to do everything myself. That's really important. And maybe some of you guys are a bit younger, and if you come over here or you move over here and you decide you're going to live here, it's one thing if you're in your 20s or 30s, you got your life ahead of you. You can choose to say, you know what, I think I'm going to go home. I can do things at home and things will be better for me, and like I have VA coverage. If I go home, everything is covered, even though it's a slow process with the VA. I mean, extremely slow. But I could go home and get everything taken care of. Or I could go to a public hospital here and have everything taken care of for virtually nothing. Or I go to a private hospital and hopefully my insurance will cover about 80% of it. Insurance is a racket. You don't want to pay, but when you need it, you'll be thankful you have it. Exactly. And I think that's something that some people, they just go, I don't need it or whatever, but you do. Even when you travel, you need it. When we went to Vietnam, Alex was having a pain in his chest, and maybe it's just acid reflux or something. I gave him some tablets, and hopefully it'll clear up. Every once in a while, he has this pain, and you know, we just got into Vietnam. And he's like, yeah, I don't feel good. We're like, okay, well, we need to take you to the doctor, and we were like, well, we got travel insurance, no problem. Now, we didn't take him because what happened was, hey, just hang on for another 15 minutes. Can you hang on? Yes. And then our friend showed up, and then, you know, we started getting into everything, and he was just like, I don't need to go. I'm fine. Okay, but if we needed to go, we know it's not going to come out of our pocket. Maybe it wouldn't have been that much. Maybe it wouldn't have been a big deal. Or maybe, you know, they would have admitted him. Who knows? I'm just saying, when you are away from home especially, you better have some kind of coverage, or you better have a lot of money. You know, I know some people, and they go, I know some, I'm going to just say, I know an Australian who, he's retired, and he does not believe in having insurance. He's just like, if any of these countries need to see anything, I'll show them the money. And I don't want to have insurance because it's a racket. And I guess if you have plenty of money, but see, what is plenty of money? You have a heart attack that could wipe you out. You know, I knew a guy here that he used to go up to this restaurant that used to be here in the mall. It was a restaurant. They had a bunch of college girls that worked in the place. And, you know, at like 12 or 1 o'clock, they had a guy go on and sing, and he would sing all kinds of rock songs, ballads, and all kinds of stuff. And it was a nice place, but we used to go in the morning, and we would go there and talk for a while. Sometimes he would come in with his friend. And one day, one of the girls says to me, did you hear about this guy? I said, no, I don't know what's going on. He goes, well, he's over at Waitangi Hospital. He had a heart attack. And she goes, he's got some problems with him now. He's been there for the last week. He has some problems that he needs to have taken care of, and he's unable to take care of them. I was like, what kind of problem? About money. I said, okay. With Waitangi, it doesn't surprise me at all because, you know, they're the kind who you feel terrible. You're in your room. You know, you're high. You know, they put you on morphine. With me, they put me on morphine. They put me on fentanyl. I'm high as a kite. I'm just laying there just going, I feel like shit, but I'm high. And they come in, you know, asking you, okay, are you ready to pay? Can you pay? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm like, come back later. You know, like, wait until I'm a little bit better. Or talk to my wife. But don't talk to me about this shit. It really irritated me. So, you know, I went over to the hospital. I go over to the hospital, and I'm expecting him to be, you know, bright and cheery, you know, okay. At least okay, because I thought he had recovered. I get over there, he's in ICU still. I didn't know this. He's in ICU. He's out, man. They got all kinds of tubes connected to him. He's laying there, and I'm like, oh shit, this is really serious. So I go back like in another week. And at this point, he's awake, and I start talking to him. He says, you know, they won't let me out of the hospital. The last time I looked, I owed 800,000 baht for the bill, and the bill, now that was last week. He's like, it's another it's another week. He's like, and they won't let me leave until I pay the bill. I'm like, no. They don't have that power to keep you in the hospital. They can't do that. They cannot keep you from leaving. You can leave anytime you want. Now, if you don't pay them, then maybe they can do something. But if you just leave and you say, I will pay, I'll be back as soon as I have the money, or I will put me on a payment plan or something like that, they have to let you go. They can't just leave you stuck in the hospital. And he was like, oh, I can't go anywhere. I go, yes, you can. So I got him to where he could get out of the hospital, and he came over. He went to the bank here and he called Germany, and he had to make a transfer. That's what it was. He had the money. He just had to transfer the money over here. He set it up. He set it up with the bank here, and eventually he got the money. He didn't stay in the hospital. He stays like right down the street here. I don't think he lives here anymore. This is probably 10 years ago. And he paid the money off. He paid him in cash. Here you go. Here's a stack of cash. Leave me alone. But depending on what it is, I use a heart attack, or open heart surgery or something like that as an example. Now, this was 10 years ago, and it was $800,000 for 1 week. That wasn't everything all included. That wasn't the next week. That wasn't anything else, because he was in the ICU. So, you can say, oh, if I have 100,000 or more, it's not going to wipe you out. It might not wipe you out, but it might take a large chunk of your money. If you got insurance and you're paying $100, $150 a month, insurance is probably going to cover 80% of that. So you don't have to pay yourself. That's what I'm saying. And if you only have 100,000, it can wipe you out. I mean, for him at that time, it was about $25,000, something like that, for the 1 week. So let's say it was $40,000 for 2 weeks. That might not wipe him out, but it's going to sting a little bit. But at least he's living. So it depends on how much money you have. It depends on, here's another thing. There was somebody that my wife knows who had a boyfriend. The boyfriend broke up with her. They had, she was all miserable, and she was having, anxiety, and she didn't know what to do, and all this other kind of stuff. The doctor said to her, listen, you're depressed. I'll give you some medication for a little while that will help. She didn't want to pay the doctor. I said to her, you need to go back. You need to get therapy and work this out. You need to go like once a week. You go to the doctor and you take care of it. No, I don't want to do that. She had money. She just didn't want to spend it. And I'm like, well, you can't help somebody that don't want to help themselves. And that's how it worked out. She didn't want to help. And the thing is now I don't even know where she is. My wife doesn't know where she is. And I don't really care. Because bottom line is, if she wanted to help herself, she had the ability to do so. She doesn't want to help herself. She doesn't, then sorry, too bad. And she was fairly young. She's about 40. Now me, at my age, I've already had a gallbladder issue. I had a hip issue. And knock on wood, I won't have any other major issues, hopefully. But I could. So health insurance is something, I think, when you get a little bit older, if you're going to live here and you plan on living here forever, you need to make sure that you have something in place. You have some kind of, if you're a multimillionaire, you got a couple million stashed just in case you need to take care of things, and it's very easy for you. You don't want to have to transfer money from one place to another and do this and do that. It's just boom, you pay it. If you got a credit card, you can pay, whatever it is, and you don't have a problem with it. The other thing is the visas. You want to make sure you're set for your visas. And when you get older, the last thing you want to do is have to worry about your visa. Now, the other day I said you can always get an agent. I'm not implying an agent has to do anything illegal. There are registered agents who do everything by the book. They usually are lawyers or, whatever. You can always do that, or you can just do it yourself. It's not that difficult. But some people don't want to deal with immigration. So that's an option. But you need to make sure you stay on top of it. You don't want to be overstayed, and then you're like, oh shit, now I'm 3 months overstayed. Now I'm 6 months, I'm 3 years overstayed. And you hear about these guys who they overstay, and they've been overstayed for 10 years, 20 years. You definitely don't want to be that guy or that girl. Sounds like somebody's doing a little work. Your financial planning, you got to make sure. Listen, I have all this shit in place already. For me, I've already kind of set up the way that I need to do everything automatically. And it made me feel really good yesterday that Billy said to me, now I just pay my AIS bill online. And I said, you don't have to go there anymore? No, I can just pay it online. And I was like, okay, great. That's a step in the right direction. Because I don't want to have to go to the electric company, the water company, the phone company, every freaking company in the book that you owe money to. I don't want to have to go there to make a payment. What is this? Don't forget about having an insurance policy for long-term elderly care. You don't want to burden your kids when you are too old to live by yourself. First of all, I don't think I'll ever be living by myself. Yes, it could happen, but I don't think so. Because I have my wife and I have my kids. And I can tell you that it's not like in America where everybody goes off and does their own things and you don't hear from each other, maybe for a month, and once a month you call your mother or your father or both of them, and it's definitely not like that. It's a lot closer relationship. And while we would stress that if they have something to do somewhere that's farther away, of course they can go do it. Just like me, if my mother and father said to me, we could really use some help around the house, the nurse she's not gonna be able to do these things. For this, I would go home. Now, I don't want to go home, but for them, I would gladly do it. And I would think that my kids would do that for me or for my wife or whatever. So I'm not really worried about that. But yes, if you are somebody who you're going it solo, you're 65, 70 years old and you have nobody in the world except some of your friends, you might want to consider getting some kind of long-term elderly care planning for that. And you might want to, when you are fully capable of understanding everything, you may want to go look at some elderly care facilities. Now, that's not for everybody. And I dare say that, a lot of people here, they have people that take care of them, and I don't mean that they are staying in an old folks home or anything like that. They may have, a daughter, a son, whoever it need be. Somebody, generally, if you have a family, generally somebody will take care of you. Now, I know in many families that I know that I've talked to here, I know one person who's got parents and they're older. They're not that old, but I mean, they're like 70. And there's the girl, there's her brother, and her brother doesn't do anything for the parents. In fact, he may borrow money and he may, like stay at their house sometimes and that kind of thing. She's the one who makes sure that they're okay. She's the one who takes care of them. So in this particular instance, they have somebody that takes care of them. That's not always the case, but for the majority of people here, that's what they do. I don't think you see a lot of Thai people who are going into old folks' home, going into elderly care facilities, or whatever you want to call them, whatever they are. So that's something else you got to think about. That definitely is something you need to think about. And here in Thailand, there are affordable options. They're not that expensive, and especially if you compare it to the United States, they're much more affordable here. But what you really need to do is you need to figure out and you need to look and see what is the quality of the facility, because that's pretty important. So that, for me, that means you need to go, and maybe you need to go with somebody else so that you have a couple sets of eyes and you can kind of go through everything and see, hey, is this the place where if I'm starting to fade a little, maybe I got dementia or whatever it is, you got a place to go. All right, I already talked about the visas. You want to make sure you get a visa. You want to make sure you plan your finances the right way. And the one thing is that if you have all your money in America or say Australia or wherever, you always got to think about the exchange rate. And for me, I don't see any way around that. I can put a bunch of money here, but really I need money in the United States also. I don't want to give up my bank accounts in America. There are a few things I don't want to give up. I have an address. I always want to have an address in the United States. For me. Now, I think most people need to have an address in their home country. I think it's important. Just for like, if you want to keep a bank account, you need to have an address. Even if it's a P.O. box. Some of them don't allow P.O. boxes, but you need to have some kind of an address. And to me, you need to have a bank account. You need to have a bank account there, and you need to have a bank account here. And you can say, I don't need a bank account in Thailand. Oh, I really don't need it. Yes, you do. I'll just stop you right there and go, yes, you do. It's much easier. Much, much easier if you have a bank account here than if you just have a bank account in the United States or Australia or wherever. That's what I'm going to say. It's much more convenient. Jim. Yes, actually, I just said something about you today. I said, where is Jim? I hope he's all right. What's going on? How you doing? What have you been up to? See? See? Your ears must have been burning. But, today we're talking about some of the things you need as you get older as an expat. And, the last stream I was talking about the first 30 years. Now I'm talking about the next 30 years or however many I last. And how important it is to have the financial means or the insurance to cover your health care. And then it's also important to make sure that you have everything taken care of so that when you reach a point where maybe you're starting to not think so good, or maybe you're getting a little bit you're getting just a bit too old and you don't want to have to deal with things, you've got it already set up. Everything's in place. Past few weeks, redoing the koi pond and household landscaping, working sunrise to sunset. Well, that sounds like fun. We have still been looking for a house, and I've thought we found them, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, and my wife just is, I don't know what she's waiting for. She gets the okay from me, and then she goes forward and does everything. The other thing is that, it depends on where we are, because this is the thing. And I've always talked about this, is, do I want to live here for the rest of my life? I bet. Okay. All right, Michael, you take it easy, man. Good to see you. Something else you need to think about, and some people don't think about this, and I actually knew one case where the guy was married, he had 3 kids, and he did not take care of this, and he had to have it done at the last minute through the embassy, had everything taken care of as he was dying. And that's just not the right way to do things, but I'm talking about, like, getting a will, estate planning. Do you need a power of attorney? Do you have someone trustworthy here that can handle things for you? And I'll tell you something, I worry about Jono, because he's been here a while, and while he has some friends, I don't know that, if he were to pass away, God forbid, there would be a lot of people to take care of him. Now, I know his mentality is probably, I don't care, I'm dead. So that's something to think about. But, I do think about those things. You need to plan for these things. And that is your end of life arrangements. What do you want? I used to say, I don't want to be buried in Thailand. I don't want to be burned in Thailand. No, they got to send me back to America. Now I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I think it's kind of cool. Born, 1962 in Coral Gables, Florida. Died Bangkok, Thailand. I think that's good. Okay. So I was like, what was I thinking about? Why do I have to be back in America? I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me, because I'm dust, But you need to take care of that too. And, if you don't want to be burned here, be cremated, or buried, then you're going to need to go back to the United States or Australia or whatever, and you're going to have to pay for all those things. You have to pay for when you're in the, when you're in the mortuary. You have to prepare for them to. They prepare your body to travel overseas. Then you have to have some kind of a caveat to be able to travel as a dead person. Somebody needs to have the accompanying paperwork that allows you to be transferred over there. Then you have to have people pick you up, and all of a sudden. So it costs. It's not real expensive, but it's going to cost you some money. If you're some guy who's, every month you get $2,000 and you don't have any money, well then you might run into some problems. But if you take care of it ahead of time, you shouldn't have problems. Thai people don't like to talk about dying. It takes me a lot of time and effort to discuss the options with my wife. Well, fortunately for my wife, I just tell her, listen, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around. You need to prepare yourself in case something happens. Would you be okay? And she'd be okay now. I don't know in another 15 or 20 years if she'd be okay. I would hope so. I'd hope she'd be comfortably retired, and, she's got grandkids and she's happy. And, I would just hope these things come about. And, I don't want her to die before I die. I'd rather be the one who dies first. Because I don't know what I would do without her, honestly. And at this point, I don't want any other women. I don't really care about other women. It's not like I'd be like, oh, in another 6 months, I'm going to find another wife. I don't care about all that stuff. It doesn't matter to me. I want her around for a long time. And, you know, I got my kids. And so, in that regard, I'm a wealthy man. You know, so I think about these things. All right. Sounds good. Saudi Arabia. Now, I don't know, you know, I was talking about this earlier. Scott loves his wife. Yeah, I love her, and you know, then there's times when, you know, I could wring her neck, and vice versa. Sometimes, you know, she told me, sometimes you make me so mad I just want to punch you in the face. I'm like, well, sometimes you do the same to me. Fortunately, we don't engage in that. We don't, you know, haul off and whack each other, because that wouldn't be good, you know. I don't know why they hate their wives why did they marry them then? I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, you know. Maybe a couple of years down the line, if I, you know, meet some lady and I go, wow, she's all right, man, you know, and then who knows? But I don't think about that, you know. And it used to be like, we would ask each other, oh, so like, if I die, would you get another wife? Or would you get another husband? Or, you know, whatever. The dudes were beta and had no experience data and just kind of stuck with their first woman. Well, that kind of sucks. I mean, really. I mean, you know, before I got married, you know, I had a fair number of women in my life. And, you know, that's in America and in Thailand and other places I went, but, you know, mainly Thailand. And so I sowed my oats, so I don't really care about, you know, and I'm getting older too. You know, I mean, how many 85-year-olds are like, okay, I got to bang my wife like 10 times a week? You know, that just doesn't happen. Guilo is a Canadian YouTuber I follow in China. His Chinese wife died last year. Wow. He's been going to the Philippines to find a new girlfriend wife because he doesn't speak Chinese. Oh my God. So he wants to move to the Philippines. Or he wants to bring her back and make her learn Chinese. You know, I don't know. I still remember seeing like a movie or movies. I wouldn't want to deal with Chinese, man. No, thank you. It just wouldn't be, it's not for me, man. I know some Chinese women, and I've known some Chinese women. I don't want anything to do with them. But quite frankly, I don't really want any Filipinos. You know, then I look at Thai women and I go, you know, most of them you look around, and if you look on a bus somewhere, there might be one or two girls on the bus that are cute. And once in a while, you get one that's hot. And I think, you know, okay, she doesn't have to be great looking, but she has to be attractive to you. And she has to have a good attitude. She has to be, you know, friendly, and you have to be able to get along, and, you know, all these other things. Be compatible. 50% of the people seem to be married for companionship, but they actually hate each other. Yeah, that's kind of sad. I mean, every time the wife and I go on a trip somewhere, whether it's Vietnam, United States, Ecuador, we always go out to dinner. We have nice dinners together. Sometimes we buy a couple of bottles of wine. We enjoy the wine. We enjoy where we are. We enjoy the time together. And what I would say is, if something to really think about is that you need to take time away from work. Whoever is working, if both of you are working and you know, you're both stressed out, or one of you is working, I mean, even in my prior relationships, I mean, I would be working in the last relationship I had. I'd be working, but when I was done working, I'd say, let's go out to dinner. We're going to go out to dinner, and then I'd buy I'd buy something to drink or, whatever, or I wouldn't, but we'd go out to dinner, have a really nice dinner, and it was like, you can just feel yourself decompress. And that was kind of nice. I've been involved with 4 Chinese women in the past. All 4 were pretty much psycho. Yeah, I just pass on the Chinese. I mean, for fun, that's a different story, but, I just don't have any desire. I like Japanese women. I like Thai women. I like Indonesian women. Burmese women. Laotian women, Cambodian women, Vietnamese women, okay. Singaporeans, no. I mean, everybody has their own preferences. And, I think about it now and I just go, listen, it's like my friend, I did this video, I'm doing this video right now, and he's in the video, and I'm giving him a hard time because he's 63 or 64. And I'm like, you're not going to be able to pull the little 22-year-olds, the little 25, you're not going to be able to pull those anymore. Because they're going to look at you and go, that is my grandfather. I don't want to be with him. Now some of them you might get lucky, yeah. I'm just saying on the whole, it's probably not going to happen. So I'm like, I always give them a hard time about it. Maybe you can get yourself a slightly less used 60-year-old. He's like, no. Which I think is kind of funny. Because what man, unless you're growing old with her, how many men do you know that are older that go, oh my God, this 65-year-old is the hottest thing I've ever seen in my life? I don't really know anybody like that. They're all like, okay, 50 maybe, 40 okay, Maybe it's just me and the people I hang out with, I don't know. But anyway, getting back to the aging thing, assisted living, that's kind of like the same thing as, when you're dealing with long-term health care. That's one aspect of it, is to get assisted living. And there are more and more places here in Thailand now, and some of them cater exclusively to expats. And Chiang Mai is a big place. I guess Hua Hin is a place. I didn't really know about that, but I knew about Chiang Mai. Bangkok, of course. So for some people, I mean, I don't want to live in assisted living. Ever. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I really took a look at it and, my wife was gone and my kids were working and they had their own lives. And I found, a place where it's like, it's like a retirement community. Then maybe I guess I would do it. I don't know, But right now I'm like, no thank you. Listen, I wanted to ask something. How is the sound today? How is the sound today versus the usual sound? Because I have a microphone on right now. I also have an adapter coming for a microphone that my friend gave me. But I also ordered yesterday another microphone that instead of needing an adapter, it's a lightning. Okay. But the music is loud today. Wow. Well, I don't know. Hopefully today I'll get the adapter and I can check out the differences. I'll have to really, do a few tests and see. And then this weekend I'm going to get the Only a bit of sound from the background can be heard. Okay. I'm going to have this other one, and then there's one more that I want, and they're not very expensive. They're between $5 and like $50. Oh, okay. Good to know. That's good to know. So I'll probably have like 4 microphones, but you know, it's always good to have a backup. So I'll have a couple of backups. We'll comment on the sound as soon as the Swenson's employees start making a racket behind you. Actually, there's 17 minutes until the song that they play every single day starts to play. There's 17 more minutes for that. So, you know, we'll see. Oh, but one thing I wanted to say is, and I didn't know this, but I made a payment at well, I've done this several times. I made a payment at the grocery store, and I didn't see the first one. But then yesterday I'm looking at my bank account, and I see this charge, and I go, what is this charge? So I opened it up, I'm looking at it, and it was an international, I don't know what they called it, exchange rate fee or international fee or something like that. And then I looked at it and I went, that's 3%. I paid with my credit card. They charged me 3% for the difference in exchange rate, So they made money on me. I was like, this cost me an extra 3%, which sucks. So you can't get away from it no matter what. Everybody who's worried about this tax thing and all this stuff, I wouldn't worry about it yet. Worry about it when the government comes out and starts, the government starts releasing statements. Then you need to worry about it. You need to think about it. I wouldn't worry about it, but I would think about it. And one of the things that I thought I'd do is, I'll just transfer the Social Security money over, and that way they can't tax me on that. And then everything else, I'll just use my card. I'll use my bank card. But if they're going to charge me a 3% fee, I don't know. Maybe it's only here. I don't know. I have to take a close look because I haven't had a card in probably a year and a half. I haven't had a bank card. I've just used the Wise. Which, by the way, do me a favor. Now that we're an hour in, if you like this stream, if you like the streams I put on the air, if you like the videos that I do, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and click the notification bell. Look down in the description, and if you're on a television set or some other way where you can't see the description, basically it has all the ways you can help this channel, Cash App, buy me a coffee, buying something through Amazon, buying one of my books, whatever. It has everything down there, so if you need to, maybe you can look. The bank will not, I don't think they're going to refund that fee. What they will refund is, they will refund the bank fee. They'll refund the bank fee that is charged by Thailand, and they don't charge a fee. So I get all that money back. When do you plan on taking it? Soon. I don't want to wait. I don't need to wait. So, whatever. No, mine does. They do, and that's a good thing, and that's why I bank where I bank. I've had all kinds of bank accounts in America over the years. I had Wells Fargo, I had Bank of America. I think, what did it used to be called? Net Bank or something like that. Then it got bought out by, I think, SunTrust. and SunTrust got bought out by Truist, and now I have Truist. So that's another thing you need to think about. Like when I was talking about finance, you have to think about how are you going to deal with your finances, and what happens if one of them falls through. You know, what happens if one of them goes, we no longer accept transfers from the United States, which that happened to me. I had the Revolut card. It's called Revolut. I had that card, and then one day they just said, we're no longer going to be accepting transfers to or from the United States. And I said, well, that's kind of screwed up. They were like, yeah, we know, but, you know, nothing we can do. I said, okay. Now, that was a couple years ago. Now they accept transfers and will do transfers to and from there. They actually give you a card. You can use the card, and you know, if you're paying a certain amount, you get the rate that the market rate. So that's great. The only thing is that I tried to sign back up with them again, and they said, oh, well, you have an account. Well, I tried to get into my account. They're like, you can't access this account. So I can't get another account, and I can't access the account. I don't know what the deal was. But, you know, no matter what, I have different ways to access my money, whether it's a transfer from the bank, whether it's pulling money from the bank from here in Thailand, whether it's using Wise, whether it's using a bank card, it doesn't matter. So if you need to set yourself up. I mean, listen, when Billy came here, there's another guy, Tim. Yeah, I see him most of the time here. I run into him in the mall. Even Jono. What happens is, in the beginning, you're like, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you need to get set up. It's just like you get an iPhone. When you get the iPhone, the thing is blank. You're like, well, what do I want to put on there? You got to put everything on. You got to put all the apps on that you want. It's the same thing with doing business in Thailand, getting set up for Thailand. If you have a bank, like Siam Commercial does not have a website for their bank. They don't do that. When you use your American ATM card here, do they screw you on the exchange rate? Well, they always charge a little bit. You always get screwed a little bit, like 1% or something like that. You know, which sucks. But I don't really care, you know, at the end of the day. I mean, it's, you know, if I'm making a huge transfer or payment with the card, and they're going to charge me, you know, $100, $200, $50, then I care. Then I think, okay, how can I get around this? Well, I can always transfer the money to Thailand, and then I can charge it on my Thai American Express card, and then I can pay the payment for whatever I charge. I can just pay it off. I can do it that way, and that way I'm not going to pay an exorbitant fee. So that's something else you got to think about. You know, you got to think about these things. And I think some people, you know, the reason that you come here is you want a simpler life. And for the most part, my life is pretty simple. I got everything set up, and I don't have to worry about anything. I want to, you know, if my AIS every month they send a bill. My internet, they send a bill, and then they automatically charge me. They just pull it out of my bank account. I just make sure the money's in the bank, and they pull it out of the bank. I don't have to worry about anything. The only thing I got to worry about is, you know, hey, do I have money in there? Yeah, I have money in there. Okay. Well, don't go and blow it on. You know, I have one account that's set up with Siam Commercial, and that pays all my bills. Then I have CASHAPP, and that's like my spending. Then I have my U.S. bank card, and that's spending if I don't want to transfer the money, or for whatever reason I need to have money in my my U.S. bank account. Did you only spend cash in Vietnam? For the most part, I did. I used the card like twice. I used my card. However, my wife likes to use her card because she's always getting points. I mean, I get points too. I get points on my American Express, and I get points on my Truist card. I get points for Delta on my Truist. I get points for Thai Airways on my American Express. She gets points, and I don't know. I don't remember. It's not an airline, but they refund her money, and she gets all these points where she can. Sometimes she went and bought a pair of tennis shoes for like 4,500, 5,000 baht. She just went and she goes, oh, how much do I have to pay? 200 baht. 200 baht? Yeah, you got enough points. So the points pay for the shoes. She's like, okay. Paid the 200 baht. She's got herself a 5,000 baht pair of shoes, you know. So she's pretty smart about that kind of stuff. But I didn't spend. The only reason I spend on the card is because one time I didn't have any cash and I needed to go to an ATM, and I just wasn't in the position right then. I was at the place, and I go, oh, I don't have enough cash, so I paid with my card. And the other time was, I don't know what it was. No, it wasn't difficult at all. They actually sent me a paper, and it said, if you want this card, you can have this card. It's a Thai Platinum American Express. And so I was like, yeah, I got that in 2010. So I've had it almost 15 years now. And it's great. I mean, you know, they're fantastic. Listen, I lost my card once. I was at the salon in Kaohsiung where they used to scrub my feet. I don't go to the place anymore, but they used to scrub my feet. They were the ones who cleaned all the dead skin off my feet. They did, you know, manicures, pedicures, all that kind of stuff. So I get ready to go and pay them, and I go, what's going on here? I don't have my American Express card. And I was like, what did I do? And I think I left it at the ATM. I pulled a little bit of money out, but it wasn't enough to pay the bill. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but and so what I did was I called up American Express, and they said, we can be there in 2 hours. I said, okay. And so I just sat there and talked with the girls for 2 hours, and then the next thing you know, I get an envelope. It's got my card in there. It said, just call us and activate the card. Boom, call them, activate the card. Next thing I know, the salon was paid, and it was done deal. And, you know, if you pay for a flight on your American Express, you get flight insurance, you know, all that kind of stuff, and you can get travel insurance. You can get all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I love it. And I don't care that, you know, oh, well, we're not taken everywhere. I don't really care about that, because most of the time I can pay with cash, or you pay with a credit card. You know, you can pay with your card. I can pay with the card from the United States. I used to have another card at the other bank, that Capital One, and I just let it expire because I don't get much money in that account, and I just let it build up. So I don't do anything with that. But the credit card was really easy. I couldn't believe it, and you know, I used to pay it off every single month. I don't do that anymore, but I will soon. But that was what I used to do every single month, and it was great. You know, that was fantastic. You know, so very helpful. Let's see here. Yeah, it says here, staying active. Things you have to think about when you get old, and this is staying active, which staying active when you're older, I mean, if I look at some people, and like now I go to my kids and go, how old do you think that guy over there is? 70. And sometimes I've gone up to people and said, hey, how you doing? I start talking to them, and I go, how old are you? To see if we're right on or not. I've done that a couple of times. But my kids will look at people and go, oh, that guy is like 60. You think so? Yeah, I think so. Okay. You know. But you need to stay active. You need to stay busy. And that might just mean you go for a walk with a friend, or you play badminton. I see a lot of guys now, and I've been meaning to do this just for the fun of it, but it's bocce ball. They have guys playing bocce ball down the street from here. I mean, from about 12 or 1 o'clock to about 9 o'clock, there are probably 50 people, maybe 100 people at this bocce ball court. And I was over there playing a little bit with one of the guys. Somebody let me use his bocce balls. He goes, oh, you should get some. And I was like, well, I don't know. Where do I get them? You get them at the mall. You know, they're like 1,000 baht, 1,200 baht. And I think you get 3 balls. And they weigh a certain amount. And it's a little exercise for when you're, not necessarily when you're 63 or 62, but it's a form of exercise, and it's keeping active, which is what is important. You got to keep moving. You don't want to just end up sitting on the sofa and be a couch potato and never get up. And the only reason you get up is to go take a piss or a dump, and then, maybe you get up to go eat, and that's it. You don't want to live that way. I mean, I would tell that to anybody. You don't want to just lay around all the time and do nothing. That's just not conducive to healthy living. Remaining active is very important. I had worked with people who retired and spent all their time watching TV and playing video games. Yeah, there you go. I mean, you going out and working on your koi pond, personally, it's not something I want to do because I don't really care about koi, but I do understand it. And it's something that, 9:44, right on the dot, baby. They must have a timer on it or something. So I'm sure that's something that keeps you busy. As long as you stay away from Swenson's, then you're fine. Yesterday we had Minato, the sushi place that we used to like so much, and they've really downsized. But they still got some great food. I mean, really, really good food. I think there's only 2 Minatos in all of Thailand, but this place is really good. And, had a nice meal yesterday, sat and shot the shit for a couple hours, had a little coffee, and in a sense, that is kind of keeping active too, It doesn't matter if it's with a buddy or with a couple of friends and you're sitting around playing cards. That in itself keeps your mind going. And to me, I'm not that old. I mean, I do feel it a lot more than, say, 2 years ago. I feel my age. But I still feel fairly strong. But I don't feel as strong as I used to, but I do feel fairly strong. And, what more do you want? Uh-oh, cops walking around now. Wonder what they're here for. Maybe they're doing some, they usually have some kind of little drill or something where they get 15, 20 guys and they all line up and then, they do something. Dale, Utah's, it is about 1 meter deep on average, 6 meters long and 4 meters wide. I fly RC planes, and a lot of the time just talk to each other. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I mean, I have my drone, and I love flying that thing. And you know what? I'm not somebody who's flying it. Granted, sometimes I'll be flying that thing full speed. I'm up 100 meters or something. I'm flying it as fast as it'll go. But most of the time, I'm just looking around. I'm just having fun flying it. Even, I went down in Surat. I got a lot of footage from Suratani. And you know, I'm going to put some Suratani videos up once the Vietnam videos are done. But you know, it's great fun, man. I go out there. I was out there in the forest, and you know, next to the forest and by the house. And then you know, there's I got some great shots where the fog is just above where the trees are, and the drone goes up from the tree line up through the clouds and above the clouds, and then you can just see down. I mean, it's really cool, you know. Very, very cool. That's why I like having the thing, and I've become a lot more cautious when it comes to how I fly, because I don't want to crash again and have to pay a bunch of money to get it fixed. You know, I've learned to move the throttle and the control stick a little bit more slowly. I'd imagine they're a fair bit more difficult to fly than drones, as far as where you can fly and you know how you can do things. Yeah, well, I look at the Lotus sign now and I just laugh because it's the Lotus sign. It goes to the top of the building, and when I was flying it that day, I don't know what happened, but your iPhone, if there's too much sun, then it gets dark. So I'm out there in the blazing heat, and all of a sudden this thing is black. I can't see it. I'm like, what the fuck? I can't see anything. I don't know where the thing is. And a couple minutes later, I just hear this whoosh, and then I see the thing falling down from the Lotus sign. I went, oh my God. And now the thing works. Nowadays there are all sorts of electronics that help you fly the plane if you want to make it easier for yourself. Yeah, it sounds like fun. I mean, it's something to do. And, I was telling Mr. Billy yesterday, 2/4 Korean, wherever he is, sleeping, I was telling him yesterday that, yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't land on the roof, and that's why it wouldn't let me land. It said, I can't land here because this is not, like your, what's the landing point, and this is a roof. It said it was a roof. We can't land here. You won't be able to get your, and so then it moved over and went right into the sign, but it's fixed now, fortunately. But I told him yesterday, you got to get some kind of hobby. You're going to be here, you got to get a hobby, man. You got to have something that you like to do. And, something I've been thinking about is, photography again. I'll get back into photography. Maybe I'll make a little money at it. I did that for a long time as a living, and I did well. But I just don't, I just don't have the desire to go tromp around, in some godforsaken place. And I got a message yesterday from a guy. I was in Bangladesh with Chucky, and Chucky and I just happened to go through this slum area. I said, Chuck, you want to go? Yeah, we got dropped off at this little place. The guy goes right down there. I'm walking along. There are a couple of Muslim women. They're walking, and I just go, hey, hello, how are you? However you say it. I don't remember how you say it in Bangladesh, but I probably said it to them in their language. And then they saw the camera, and they were laughing, and they were pointing at it, and I go, you want a photo? And next thing I know, I'm taking photos of them. And I got a message yesterday. I've been there where you've been, and I don't stick a camera in somebody's face. Well, the people that I took photos of asked me to take their photos. So, it's not like I'm using these people to, I'm making a bundle of money. Off of Bangladesh, I didn't make anything. So I don't do that. I try not to do that. If I'm in a place, it's generally, hopefully it will help some people that I take their photos. Yeah, swimming is good for you. That's something my friend does from Ecuador. He swims a lot. And, I would like to do that. And that's something that when we've looked at places to live, although they are houses and townhouses, we always make sure that they have a decent pool. And, most of the time, like, I have never seen anybody swimming in the swimming pool at all of these places I've went, which means people don't generally use it, which is exactly what I want. I want to be able to go swimming and I go, hey, there's nobody here. This pool is all mine. Good morning, Joe. How you doing? Let me just click this. Let's click like for Joe. Like. There we go. Everybody click. You can click like on this one. I appreciate it. Thank you very much there, Joe. Choke D to you, as always. So, yeah, I mean, But anyway, getting back to it, you got to have a hobby. It doesn't matter if it's you go bowling twice a week. You go golfing. That's something that Jono does. He goes golfing. He goes hitting balls, driving. Goes to the driving range. If I have a big enough house, I'd like to have one of those things where you putt. All you do is putt. That's all you do. And then, if you sink the putt, the thing pops the ball out and sends it back to you. I would like to do that. Flying to Bangkok on Wednesday. Wow. All right, I bet you can't wait. That's only, 5 days? Not long, man. What do you plan on doing here? And have you been here before? I think you have, haven't you? I'm flying Sunday to Bangkok. There you go. Everybody's coming to Bangkok. I'm gonna leave and go somewhere else. I don't know where. I don't know where yet. We thought about going to Tokyo, but you know what? For the next probably 6 months, I'm just gonna try to save a bunch of money, not go anywhere, and just travel in Thailand because it doesn't cost nearly as much to stay domestic. And then probably in, I don't know exactly when. I like the rain. And it's not going to stop because I tell it to stop, unfortunately. I wish it would. Because then I can snap my fingers. I don't want any more rain. Bring the sun out. I mean, it looks like it's going to rain like right now. You can tell it's there's still a little sun out, but it looks like the clouds are moving in. I'm driving to Bangkok on the 10th for your teeth. Would that be correct? Stay in Bangkok for a month or so. My 4th visit. Oh, shit. You got a girl here? I got to ask that. Hey, the song is over. I can't believe it. All the music is over. I love it. Single man. Oh, well, there you go. You can have a good time. If you're single, stay single. If you're single coming to Bangkok, stay single. I mean, if you want to live here, then you either want to have, your notebook filled up with numbers, or you want to have, 1 or 2 girls you can rely on. But I would say if you're visiting, single is the way to go, for sure. Soy cowboy in his future. I'm not big on soy cowboy. Correct. Unfortunately, they made my appointment for 5 p.m. Ooh. 5 p.m. That sucks, man. I don't know why they made it. You should have asked it. No, I only want it in the morning. That's what I do with Alex, because he's got some things he's getting taken care of now. Yeah, so. Soy Cowboy never really did it for me. It was always Nana, Clinton Plaza. Yeah. And Pat Pong, forget about it. Never did it for me. I just, I've been there, but it's not my style. And then of course, I don't even know if in the Erewhon, if Spazzo's still there. CM2, which was in whatever that hotel is in Siam Square. God, I can't even remember all of them. And then down on RCA, there used to be all kinds of places. They do play this song a lot. Longer term condo rentals. But you don't want to buy anything. Is that correct? I mean, because, one of the options that like I told my wife is get a cheap condo and just rent it out. Even if you're in the hole for, whatever it is, 1,000, 2,000 baht every month, it's not like we're paying 30,000 a month or 40,000 a month. That's nothing. And then you get your blue book. But I don't think that'll work because, I was like, get a cheap place, and she came back and told me, there's this place here, it's 2-bedroom, it's 3.3 million. I'm like, I don't think that'll work. Rent only, okay. I'm sure you can find something. There's plenty of condos out there. Music's over. See, now she is. Everybody's coming in now. As always, I show everybody coming in slowly but surely. They're making their way in. Doors opening. This is the other thing. I thought about, at the end of this year, I'm just going to stop streaming. I'm going to stop everything. You like the Riverside? I like it there too. It kind of depends on where on the river you are. I don't particularly like right next to Icon Siam, that area, but I do like some places farther up and down the river. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, one thing that I've been thinking about is that, the office I have now is, it's just a small room. And yeah, it's, it's customized and, it's all right. There's no room for anybody else. I can't have like a guest, whether it's an expat or somebody who is visiting or somebody who's lived here for a long time and they're working here or something, whatever it might be. I don't really have the room. And I mean, I can go out somewhere and go to the park and do that, but I would like to have an office. And, that's something I'm thinking about. Maybe next year I may, if I decide I want to just continue to stream, which right now I do, I'd like to have some kind of an office set up where I have a couple of decent microphones, not just a little lab mic or, whatever it might be. But a couple of decent microphones. You know, you have like a box where you can, you know, hit the buttons and everything you want to happen happens. You switch over the camera view. You know, there's all kinds of things you can do. And, you know, I can get some help with that, setting that up. I mean, it might cost me $1,500 to set up a basic studio with a couple of good microphones and things like that. And, you know, maybe I need a laptop that's going to allow me to do things and plug things in and, you know, everything up like that. I don't want a green screen. Honestly, I don't want a green screen. That's the thing. I mean, it's nice to have that available to you, but I don't want that in like in a live stream where I'm interviewing someone, you know, or I'm just having a discussion with someone. I really don't want that. I want an office. So, you know, that's another thing is when we move, if we move, whenever that may be, I want to have an office. So if I say, okay, so-and-so, why don't you come over to the office? You can be here and we'll put together, and hopefully I could have a good show. You know, I could put one person in. That's something in the future where I'm like thinking, okay, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do it and pick up some subscribers. People would maybe start watching a little bit more. People, not just geared towards Thailand, but geared towards, you know, expat life and, you know, a little bit towards travel. I don't know, you know, I mean, it's, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of things you can do. And, you know, having a little studio helps. And I don't mean little in the sense that I have a little studio now, which my studio is little. There's really not enough room. I mean, I could have 2 people in that room, but it would be cramped. And, you know, I don't have some of the things I have are not correct to make a decent studio. So that's something else to think about. But anyway, that could be in the future. That may be in the future. That's my way of staying active. One of my ways to stay active. And also, you know, it is, you know, I'm hesitant to say this, but it is a bit of an online community because there's some people that are very interested in Thailand, very interested in the expat lifestyle, very interested in travel, places to go, things to do. And I mean, I know a lot of you guys probably have not seen most of the videos. I don't have anything to sneeze into. But I mean, I have something like 1,200 videos. 1,200. I've been all over Thailand. I mean, I've been to Cambodia, and I haven't even filmed all the stuff in Cambodia. I've been to Myanmar, and I've only filmed there a couple of times. I've been through Malaysia. I've been to Singapore. I've been to Indonesia. I've been all over in Southeast Asia. So there is some good information out there. But how's anybody going to find it with my channel? Because most people don't even search for things. You know, a lot of people, they just start watching. Well, I don't think most people are going to be able to sit through 1,200 videos and streams, or whatever it is, 1,400. Oh, there you go. I love it. I'm not selling those anymore because I'm not really pushing the merchandise. I haven't been pushing it. I'm trying to get the subscriber count up and pushing the show with just me, but I'd like to have somebody else on. At least once a week I have a guest. And maybe I'm on 2 times a week alone. You know, I don't know. But I'm thinking about it. And when I start thinking about things, that's, you know, sometimes the ideas come about. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. But anyway, today I need to go to the grocery again. It's a Friday. My wife goes to Bali on Sunday, and I'm not going with her. She's only there for a couple of days. which, that kind of sucks, but all right, I can deal with it. Like the first day or two, it's like, oh, there's something missing in the house. It's very peaceful. And then about the third day, fourth day, it's like, oh, well, the wife's not here. What's going on? When's she going to be back? But she's only gone for a couple of days, so that'll be good. She'll come back, and, we'll be ready for her to come back. But, yeah, I don't know. Today's Friday. I don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow, because on Sunday there's a UFC fight, and I kind of want to watch it. I'm not really sure. I have to double check and see, can I do both things at once, or with the, out of the corner of my eye. I'm not sure. But Khamzat Chimaev is fighting Robert Whittaker, and Max Holloway is fighting Ilia Topuria, which I think that's a great fight. I think Topuria is a little bit younger, a little bit sharper, and I think he's probably going to win, but I'd never want to count Max Holloway out. So, if I had to bet on it, I would go with Ilia Topuria. But anyway, so that's going on Sunday. Yeah, Monday the 11th, I may be able to work something out. I think I have to take my kid somewhere on, let's see, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I may be able to do something then, Jim. That'd be all right. I mean, it's still a couple of weeks off, but I think probably I can do something. My kid's birthday's on the 12th. So on the 12th, he's got something to do, and, I'm sure that he'll have a nice day, but maybe that'll be on Sunday. I don't know. So maybe that's a good thing that, he has his day on Sunday instead of Tuesday, because I think my wife has to work, and, I got some things to do on that day, and so, I don't know. We'll see. I should get a shirt that says, "We'll see." That's the phrase now. We'll see. Hey, one thing I want to ask you guys about. Have you heard anything about the cannabis law and what they're doing with it now? You haven't heard anything. I wonder why. That's just kind of faded away, and that's what happens. I don't think they're going to do anything. So, we'll see is more of a Pinoy phrase. Well, no, it's not more of a Pinoy phrase. It's more of a Scott phrase. We'll see. The Pinoy phrase is, I no budget. That's a Pinoy phrase. I wanted to ask something, and I'm curious to know, and I know what my answer is, and you guys ought to know what it is. But I'm curious to know if you had a girl, she was a great looking girl, very nice, very sweet, great looking, the physical aspect of the relationship is just fine. You really like her, and then you find out she's an OnlyFans model. And, her job is to get buck naked in front of whoever in order to make money. Now, what would you do? Would you stop seeing her? Would you continue to see her? Would you forgive her for her transgressions? Or what would you do? You're fine with it. Now you see, I couldn't be fine with it. Because to me, the only thing they have of value to me, besides their brain and what's between their little triangle, That's it. Their job is not important to me. But I don't want them getting naked for everybody to see. That's just my feeling. She could be my sugar mama. I don't want a sugar mama. You know, to me, it's like, I don't like being a sugar daddy, and I don't want to be, you know, have a woman that's my sugar mama. I want to be self-reliant, you know, at least to some regard. You know, I'd like to be self-reliant. But I'm curious to know what we got 30 people on here. We got 2 people that answer, and I just find that a bit troubling. People won't speak up. Just go ahead. If you think it's okay, say so. I don't care. It's your life. Not for me. Thank you very much, Joe. 3 people out of 30 that are commenting on this. Not for me. Thank you very much. You see, to me, if you want to have a woman that you can respect and that maybe, I don't want to say you put her on a pedestal, but you have strong feelings for, then why would you want her showing? And come on, let's be honest. It's not like she just shows a pair of panties and a top and a bra on. That's not what I'm talking about. You know, most of them, and I've never subscribed, I've never even really seen anything on OnlyFans. Other than I know, oh, this girl is on there, that girl is on there. That's about all I know. But from what I know, you know, they're showing their starfish. They're showing, you know, the innermost regions of their furry triangle. You know, they're doing things like that, which is like, I don't know, I don't want anybody seeing that kind of stuff. You know, if she looks good enough to get paid on OnlyFans, then I think she must look pretty good, and that's important. I don't know, man. I can't get past it. I'd be like, hit the road, Jack. You gotta hit the road. I don't care what she looks like. You know. I mean, it used to be that when a girl went and did Playboy, it really wasn't a huge ordeal because they did it tastefully. Now I think it's a little bit different, and, you know, it's more, I don't want to say it's more mainstream. An ex-Playboy model depends on what kind of model and how graphic she got. If it was something she did and it was like, you know, when she was young and she just showed a little titty and, you know, they showed her ass sticking up or something, maybe, but not exactly what I consider to be tasteful. Just like I wouldn't sleep with a chick if she told me, oh, I've been with 500 guys. I'd be like, no. She said she'd been with 50 guys. I wouldn't be with her. Get out of here, honey. Been used up, man. You know. Just my thinking. And I know it's rather conservative, but hey, man, I'm a guy, and I don't want any of that stuff. I don't think that I think it's made up. Well, exactly, that's what I mean. If a chick tells you she has 20 or 30 guys, I look at it like she's probably got a couple hundred. She's probably had a couple hundred interactions. And, you know, how special is that when you're the 201st guy? Oh, baby, I love you. I love you so... Well, how many guys have you told that you loved? Oh, you're the only one. Yeah, right. Okay, sure. Whatever you say, sweetie pie. I just, no. That's just me. And I think that's reflective of how a lot of guys feel. A lot of guys don't, they don't want a girl who's been with, 50 guys, 100 guys. To me, I'd go, wait a minute, you've been with like 100. One woman, I think she said, what was it that I saw? I saw this video. She said she'd been with 1,000 guys in 10 years. I'm like, that's a different guy about every 3 days. For 10 years. Now, I don't know about you, but like, that's a lot even for me. That would be a lot. So, yeah, it's just too many, man. Too many. And, what I say is, what kind of man is going to want her? So you would rather have an honest chick that's been with 50 dudes and tells you 50, or one that lies and says 20. But, well, wait a minute. If she says, oh, she's honest. No, I don't want a chick who's been with 50 dudes. That's a high count there, man. 50? How is she with 50 dudes? I mean, maybe if she's 65. But, some chick who's 25, 30 years old, she goes, oh, I've been with 50 guys. How you been with 50 guys? Well, had any one-night stands? You can put me under any kind of questioning, and I'm not gonna crack on this one. A 40-year-old, okay, a 40-year-old. Have you been married? Oh yeah, I was married for 10 years. You were married for 10 years. Okay, so that brings you to 30. If you didn't cheat, that brings you to 30. So let's say that you lost it at 16, and you're 30. That's 14 years, right? That's almost 4 guys a year. That's once every 3 months she's changing a guy. It's too much. It's way too much. If she's 40 and she goes, all right, I've had 8 guys, I'd be like, yeah, all right, well, maybe that's acceptable. Maybe. The thing is, just because they're there doesn't mean you got to be with them. Even if they look good. They might look good, but they're a fucking psycho. I mean, really, think about it. You get these Chinese chicks, what do you think? The Chinese chicks, they've only been with one guy? Some of these Chinese girls? No, of course not. They're nutcases. They break up with a guy, then they find another guy. They're a nutcase with that guy. Maybe he breaks up with them. No. No. Sorry. That's my point. How special are you when you're number 201 or when you're number 51? How special are you? She can't even remember how much dick she's got. Now think about that. She can't even remember the names of everybody. To me, that's a bit fucked up. Now, maybe the reason that you're the only one chiming in is because people don't like to talk about this. They're uncomfortable about it. I don't know. But, I just wanted to know that because it is a question that I think it's asked online now. And I'm not really into all this, OnlyFans and Tinder and, dating online. I'm not into that shit. And I never was because I got married before all this shit started becoming a thing. But now I see the thing about, if she's an OnlyFans chick, how much Why is she doing OnlyFans? Because she's so hot, she can't make that kind of money doing anything else? Maybe she's going to get rich and she's going to be her own woman and she's going to have a business, and then when she hits 35, she hits the wall. She can't keep doing it. She's got plenty of money. Okay, I applaud her for doing that, but I don't want to be with her. You know. Anyway, I think that's a good subject to talk about. Hey, what about you? Do you want yourself an OnlyFans girl? Some guys view it as a badge of honor. Now, I can say I have been with a couple of strippers when I was younger. 3 to be exact. And every one of them was broken. That's the only way I know how to put it. They were all broken. They all had something wrong with them. 2-3 times a month, I'm good. I'll pay because I'm really paying them to leave. Well, I understand that. 2-3 times a month? Now, what about 2-3 times a week? Jesus. I don't know. I have this conversation with various people, and it surprises me how little men really want sex. Well, you're thinking about the price, you see. I don't ever think about that. I don't think about, oh, how much am I going to pay? I don't have to do that. But yeah. But I think, if that's all you want, then that's great. Good for you. Get it while you can. Have fun with it, and do your thing, and eventually you may not even need it 2-3 times a month. I mean, who knows? When you hit like 60 or 70, you might go, oh, I just want it once a month. I don't know. But I remember my friend telling me him and his wife had sex like once a month, and I went, once a month? How the hell are you living with her and being her husband and only having sex once a month? I'm like, if it was once a month with me, honestly, I would be like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. Anyway, we've gone on about this a little bit too long, so anyway, it's just interesting to hear different people's perspectives on this. I've never even looked at any dating sites. I've always found it easy to meet women naturally. Well, that's what I say. You meet them organically. It's like I said earlier, most people are together for companionship, and those people don't have sex much. Well, and my wife told me the same thing about, she was talking to people at her job, and they were like, oh, maybe we have sex once a week. And I'm like, what? Once a week? Oh my God. I was like, what's wrong with them? And once a month, I'm like, oh my God, how can you get by on that? If you're married to somebody, how can you get by? You're sleeping with them every night. I don't get it. But, whatever. I don't understand a lot of things, and I don't have to understand everything, and I don't have to agree, and it's their lives. Is whatever makes them happy. That's how I look at things now. If they're happy having it once a month, good for them. Whatever. I don't personally think that people who are doing it once a month and who are married, that's enough. That's just my own opinion. Why be married then? See, this is the American way, man, to what I see. It's just, to me, it's not, like if my wife said, oh, I don't want to sleep in the same room with you, I'd be like, you mean tonight? Or you mean forever? Oh, like, let's just have separate rooms. I'd be like, no. That ain't flying, honey. Oh my God. I mean, we're not living in the 50s and, watching Lever to Beaver. Where the husband and wife sleep in separate beds. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I find it extremely strange. I mean, like, what are you doing? You're always sleeping in your pajamas and you never show anybody your goods? I don't understand it. It's just, it's a little bit too much for me. But anyway, it's time to get out of here. We can talk about that maybe in the next stream. I don't know. I think about this and I just go, what the fuck? Oh, man. Anyway, it's funny. Or sad, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But thank you, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate it. Hopefully in the next stream, we'll see if okay, well, you can, Joe. No problem. Just let me know when you're around. And maybe we can meet here at Pacamara or wherever. But, yeah, that sounds good. Later, Jim. Good to see you. And to hear you're busy with your koi pond. He's already bought me plenty of coffees. Yeah, but thank you for joining me, and thank you for the donations, for the contributions. I appreciate it. And life goes on. I'll talk to you guys probably on Sunday. I'll just be here on Sunday. We'll see what I can do. I don't know. But until then, thank you very much. Choke D, Lel Jerken Mai. That's good luck and see you later. Pop Can Mai. La Kon. Well, have a good, what's today? Friday. Have a good Friday and Saturday wherever you are. And I will see you on Monday. I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkapi, in Bangkok, waiting for the rain to fall. I shall talk to you all later. See you.